Hello, Cancer. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. So tonight we have the Ace of Cups, and this is a very emotional card, right? The cup is the Grail, of course, right? The Holy Grail, if you will. But it is a vessel of those life-bringing waters, right? That thing that brings, what is it? What do we call that? Soul to something? Consciousness? Meaning? You know, now I'm an animist, so, you know, I can find a reason to think that there's consciousness in most things, right? But even if you are not somebody who believes that all things are conscious or most things are conscious, you can't help but feel like some things just feel like they have life in them, right? And other things don't. They just don't. And so I think of the waters that this cup holds as that thing that it absorbs into something and it brings that state of life, that enlivening force, right? And so, let's go. Let's see. We're going to turn this cup all the way around. We're going to knock 3 times. I guess it's to be polite. That's what I like to believe. We like to knock to be polite, but not too loud. We're not the cops. We're not going to knock all crazy. So anyways, let's take a look. Let's see what's going on here. And I want to say thank you for clicking on this reading, for taking the time to check it out. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. All right. So we have a person sitting here. You can see here's the head. Let's get my stick here. Here's the head, here's the body, the upper torso would be here, and the legs kind of seated in this comfortable position. Hand out, you can see, and open. And then over here, it looks like we have an animal of some kind, right? It looks like maybe, and I'm so sorry, I have to keep clearing my throat. I've been sick on and off forever, it feels like. And I think I'm pretty good, but my throat has been pretty iffy today. So we have the person who is feeding this animal. It reminds me of a dragon. It reminds me of that old movie. And now I know they did a remake, but we're not talking about any of those remakes. No. Pete's Dragon. Do you remember that one from like the 70s? So good. So good. I love all like bed knobs and broomsticks and Pete's Dragon and I don't know, some of the other ones, but I like those older ones. Those are what I watched when I was a kid. So I'm looking at this and last year, the last lunar year, it was the year of the dragon. Now we are in the year of the serpent or the snake now. So this is past. But I feel like you really set yourself up, Cancer, in this last year or so to be doing pretty well. I feel like last year it was not good for most people, I would say, or at least if you believe, what the media says, and if you just kind of read through social media, and of course it is skewed, and oftentimes people are, I think, more they're more inspired, more motivated to post like, you know, some of the difficult stuff going on rather than the mundane, right? You know, so we'll see that stuff more often. But I think for you, and maybe this even made you feel kind of guilty, but for you, you had a pretty successful year. I feel like you were making money, you were growing whatever project or business or career, whatever path you're on. Maybe you are post-work, maybe you were retiring, you were setting up your life post-work. Now, I don't know if anybody's actually retiring anymore. That seems kind of like a myth, right? That people are even able to retire these days. But it could be that, yeah, you're in that post-work world. And, you know, I'm sure you're a Cancer. You stay busy. If anything will get a Cancer all twisted up, it's not having anything to do. And I'm not saying you have to go like, you know, have the loftiest goals in the world, but something, right? Keeping yourself busy, reading books and studying stuff, having, you know, passion projects and hobbies and filling your time with something, right? And so I feel like this has just been kind of a pretty good era for you. Now, I did say that you might be feeling kind of guilty about that. Why, right? Well, yeah, the world is kind of chaotic, scary right now. A lot of people going through it. So I feel like in a way, this is kind of maybe made you feel a little isolated. Now, we also have the number 76 right here. And I'm looking at this and I'm trying to decide. It does look kind of like, it reminds me very much of like a mother or an older person, an adult probably, and a child playing, right? Swinging them around, having a good time. And actually I thought this was 76. It actually looks like 176. So 176. Which is crazy because down here, look at this. It looks like it's out of 173. 173. And then this one's 176. My goodness. How funny. All right, so we have the child and we have this older person, maybe a parent. Now up here we have somebody that looks very much like the warrior, right? Look at how big and strong they look. You can see the head, and here's the big, like, what's it called? Shield, armor, wearing this big armor. Now we have another child over here. And then here we have, it looks like a person just kind of sitting, right? The head kind of like they're looking down. So I wonder, and this is maybe, you know, a little touchy, maybe kind of a sad thing, but I wonder if both of your parents have passed. Or maybe the people that you've been very close with that raised you, took care of you. You know, you might be somebody like me. My parents passed away when I was 11 and 12. So I went on to have a lot of kind of volunteer moms, right, over the years. And a couple of, one actually very serious dad figure, right? And he's still my dad figure. And so I always kind of say I'm lucky that I've had a lot of different parents throughout the years. And so I wonder if maybe you are somebody who has gone through, you know, the loss of your parents, and maybe you've had other people in your life who have kind of felt like they were parents, or, you know, guided you and mentored you and helped you kind of find yourself. And I do feel like for whatever reason, this is kind of coming up in the front of your mind. And so I'm wondering if there's maybe like a birthday, anniversary, maybe it's the time of year in general. You know, you had something special you used to do with your family, or this was like a busy time, or maybe you had more time together. But whatever it is, I feel like you had this really like almost like your father figure, the masculine person in your life, was very, very much a protector. And also, this leads me to believe very involved with you, right? Playing and taking you places and spending, you know, all of these hours and hours and hours, you know, just playing with you, being with you, you know. And then the mother figure, or the feminine caretaker figure, I feel like was also very involved with you, you know, paid a lot of attention to you. I wonder if this is somebody who is maybe like even, you know, stayed at home, and it could even be that like you were homeschooled, or, you know, they're just involved in all the activities and this kind of thing. And I feel like there's such a like a romantic, almost kind of rosy, lovely memory feeling that you have about your folks, right? And I feel like at times, you know, it feels quite lonely if they're not around anymore. I feel like you get into these places where, you know, even if it's been many years since they've been around, right? You get into a place where I think that you really dwell on these losses and their absence in your life. And that's understandable. I mean, I get that. You know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, you know, we ever get over our people when they leave us. Or that you should just get over it, right? It's different for all of us. But I do feel like for whatever reason, it feels important, and it feels like something that it's unavoidable for you to just kind of, you know, just to not go through the dang thing, you know, to feel your feelings, to grieve in a way, you know. You're going to have to do it, you know, and here's the thing is that it might not be as bad as the years go by, but you're still, you know, we have our moments, and it can be quite overwhelming. But I feel like for you, you know, this is like it's bittersweet, because it's a blessing to be able to remember them and to still retain that connection, that love, that devotion. But at the same time, yeah, it's painful. You know, it's painful. So I would say that there needs to be emphasis on self-care here, being really nice to yourself, right? Like, treat yourself a little bit. Go get something, you know, that you've been wanting. It doesn't have to be a big thing. Maybe you want to try like a new, you know, new kind of seltzer water or something. You saw it at the gas station. Yeah, go do it. You know, treat yourself to something. Now, we have a person in a cart, and we have the horse here. Here's the horse. Here is the cart, and here's the person's head right there. But it also kind of looks like we have a horse going this way. See the head here? So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. But it also kind of looks like we have a horse going this way. See the head here? So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So it looks like it's being pulled in both directions. So And I think, that's all about living in the past, dwelling on it, lamenting, even ruminating, and also having this strong pull towards your future, right? To remain focused on what you're doing now so that you can continue to work to build up your life in the way that you want it to be, right? So let's see. I want to kind of I feel like there's definitely an opportunity here. Yeah, we have that. It kind of looks like like an Orthodox monk or priest. But I'm going to call this a wizard. Okay. We have the head right in here. Okay. Wearing a robe, arms raised. We have a little boat with the sail up right here. We do have the triangle. You can see the large triangle. But also the hunter right here. So we have the magician and we have the hunter. We have a butterfly. We have music. So I feel that I feel like at times it's almost like you getting lost in this back and forth between what I want to do with my time, where I want to put my energies, but at the same time I have to provide and be accessible to my family, to my people. Now you might be raising kids still, or maybe they're adults and you're a grandparent or great-grandparent now, and you do, as much as you can. But I feel like it's almost kind of, there's this sense of like wanting to depart from your life as it is now, and it feels almost kind of selfish, right? Like, I can't really live the way that I want to. And, well, we're talking about a Cancer. So maybe kind of, a little more solitary, a little bit more of that hermit mode. But you have these people who love you and they rely on you in different ways. And for you to kind of disappear from their lives, even if it is for a short while, I feel like, that's something that you're not sure if you're willing to kind of, focus on the things that you want to do, like in that way, right? I always think of like Cancer being at their happiest place, just kind of shut off from the world, into whatever you're doing. Kind of like if it was like video gaming, you're on like hour 15 straight, and the door is shut, it's locked, nobody's gonna bother you. You have like your drink set up and you got your food and everything's good. You could go for another 2 days or whatever and be totally happy, just like in this sub-reality. Now, it doesn't have to be video games, and honestly, I think of like a Cancer being more like same vibes, but like researching or doing projects or, whatever. And so, I feel like you're very pulled in this direction. But at the same time, it's like, I'm the hunter, I'm the gatherer, I'm the one, taking care of my family. Maybe financially, maybe it is that you're at home, you're taking care of the kids or grandkids. You might be, the free child care or whatever. But I don't know. I can't really speak to what one should do in these situations, I'm a parent of a young child, and I myself struggle at times, you know, with the reality that I don't have enough time to do all the stuff that I want to do. Of course not. You know, there's so many things. I'm lucky if I get, you know, an hour or two a week out, not involved with family stuff, right? Where I'm just for me. This is just for me. Not often. It's not often. I'm not complaining. You know, I'm very lucky. I have a great husband and a beautiful child and two wonderful ornery cats, you know. And I am thankful for that. So please don't think I'm... but yeah, sometimes it's hard. You know, we just get pulled in so many directions, don't we? So I see you really kind of going through it a little bit, you know, really realizing life has changed and it continues to change. And, you know, I try to remind myself one day, and it won't be that far away, you know, really, my daughter's going to be on her own thing. She's not going to want to hang out with me. Like, you know, I'm not that cool. She'll have other stuff to do, you know, and she's not going to want me driving her around everything and, you know, being all up in the mix and stuff. And yeah, my little heart is going to be broken when that happens, but, you know, I'll have more time to do stuff, and then I'll be sad that I'm not busy, you know? So I feel like, you know, it's something here, maybe making some compromises, but also prioritizing yourself. You know, I know it doesn't come naturally to you always, Cancer, but I think it is important. Now, we have a key and we have an arrow that's kind of bent. So I'm of the belief here that there is a love happening, some kind of connection. And I think it's one that's been going on, right, for a while. At least a while, probably years. Probably a spouse, maybe a long-term relationship, maybe somebody you've dated on and off. But I feel like it's unconventional in the way that you connect. And not always in a pleasant way, but I think for the most part, it's just different, right? And I think at times you can maybe compare yourself to other people and their relationships. And I feel like maybe sometimes it's like throwing a wrench into the thing, because you want things, you know, I feel like it's pretty basic, right? Pretty basic stuff. Being treated well, treated with respect, having autonomy, you know, stability, consistency, you know, just having fun, enjoying each other. But I feel like it's, you know, maybe there's an unconventional aspect. And I think at times, yeah, you can feel maybe a little bit, I don't know, insecure, right? Like I was just reading about married couples that live in two houses. You know, and I feel like, you know, if you're married or not, right? Just hearing that, you think, well, are they like separated, or, you know, how do you know, like, what, you know? But then you start really like kind of considering, like, yeah, there might be some pros. I feel the same way about people who like they don't share, they have their own bedrooms, right? And they share when they choose to or whatever. They need their own space. Kind of like, what? But then you think about it more and more, and then especially if you've been married for a while, you think maybe, well, you know, I don't know. What does it mean really? Would it be all that bad? Not saying that, you know, that's what you're going to do or not, but sometimes we find ourselves, and this is all to say, right? Sometimes we find ourselves living in ways that are unconventional, that may not be popular, maybe even things that we thought we would never want for ourselves, right? And then you try it, or you find yourself in this dynamic and realize maybe it's not that bad, and maybe it doesn't, maybe every relationship is its own thing. It's like its own entity, right? It's on its own path. Of course, we're a part of it, but, we can't plan things to a T. We can't decide beforehand how it's all going to work out. And sometimes, we find ourselves in weird situations, or it's not even weird. It might feel like weird when you step away and look at it, but if it works, it works, And so I feel like for you, there's some kind of relationship, some kind of history with this person, with the two of you. And it's not the Hallmark story necessarily, but I feel like there's something within this connection that there is a key in there for you. There is a blessing. And I feel like maybe that's somewhere to be looking. Now, I'm not saying that a relationship is going to fix your life, because that's not how they work. I don't think anyways. But sometimes in our entanglement with another being, another consciousness, within all of that, the complexity of it all, there are things for us, lessons, ideas, concepts, experiences, right? That we wouldn't have otherwise. And sometimes those become the key to our life, or at least to the next door. And I feel like that's where you should be looking. That's all I'm saying. All right. Now we have the number 8. The number 8, and it looks like we have a movie, maybe going to the movies or watching movies at home, some kind of thing that brings people together. There's something about writing. Ooh, and we do have Chronos, or death, right? You can see right here holding the scythe, or the sickle. And ooh, look at the bird. We have the bird in migration. We have the Canadian geese are going wild out here. I mean, they're ready to party. They're like ready for spring break. We had a blizzard last night. I could hear them early in the morning out there. Like, what is going on? It was just like 50 some degrees. The water was open. We're partying. All of a sudden it's cold. It's snowy. What the heck's happening? So there is something, there feels like there is such a emphasis on mortality here. And I almost wonder if this is like you're watching a movie that you used to watch when you were a kid, or I don't know, something. It feels like it brings up this feeling of like, the death drive, right? Like, I'm running out of time. And again with the 170 this time. So 170, that whole area of the numbers. the numbers game. 170, right? We had 173, 176, 170. So that seems important, definitely. But I feel like there's just something here. I feel like, in a lot of ways, you've been going through it emotionally. And it is affecting the mental a little bit, right? And I feel like there are stirrings of change here. There is a lot of looking back. There's a lot of, kind of staying in those highly emotional memories and kind of places in your mind. And I almost feel like it's kind of like you're working up the nerve, or you're starting to realize that you're uncomfortable in the life that you're living. Something needs to change or be rearranged, or, whatever. So I'm interested to see how this plays out over the next readings. Now we're going to do our 3 lucky numbers. 85, number 85. 65, 85, 65, and 33. 33. All right, now we're going to also do our self-care affirmation cards. I'm going to flip through, stop where it feels right. Cloud of release. I release my stress and worry like a cloud. It floats away, and all that's left is stillness. In that stillness, I am held by a loving God. In that stillness, I am held by a loving God. All right. Well, Cancer, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you because I do. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Other than that, I'm just going to say again, I love you. Please take care of yourself. We'll talk in a few days. Good night.